Now, the federal government has promised to address the concerns of nurses and midwives in the country over the revised guidelines by the Nursing and Midwifery Council that applicants seeking verification of certificates from foreign nursing boards must possess 2 years of post-qualification experience. Special Advisor to the President on Health Matters, Salma Anas Ibrahim, says that following the call for a review of the guidelines, the government will address the concerns of the nurses and midwives in the country. She said nurses are the faces of the health facilities, since it is the nurse or midwife that attends to patients directly and spend more time with them. We're joined now by the Registrar of Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria, Faruk Abubakar. Good to see you and thanks for your time. You've shown one attribute of those being patient. Thanks for the wait, and good to see you and see that smile on your face. Help us make sense of what this is about. First, some of the nurses felt that this is just to keep them down, hold them down surreptitiously by the government on account of seeking greener pastures.
Well, I think that is a negative misconception.
But you heard that?
Yeah, I heard that because they said it, and I read it from different platforms of the social media, and they came to the office and protesting. And some of the issues they said, why delaying the verification up to, we now said, 2 years minimum experience from the date of registrations. It was put in place to protect the interests of Nigerians, to safeguard the integrity of Nigeria. A lot of fraudulent activities was noticed when we introduced digitalization, when we introduced digital verification in August 2022 to date. And so many cases of fraudulent activities, falsifications of documents was also noticed. And from the background such, it indicates for you to initiate the process of going to abroad, America, Australia, UK, and what have you, you require not less than one year, 6 months to undergo the due process. But what is happening today, some unpatriotic Nigerians are misleading these younger ones, taking them to Nigeria, to outside this country, without due process, and they serve as a third-party verification, which we could not agree. Now, we deal with directly board of regulatories at all the countries responsible, and if you want, and those processes, if you follow them, I tell you, within the next 1 year, 6 months, you'll be able to complete, and you go to those countries with dignity. And now Nigerian image is respected. But most of these younger ones who have just qualified and they want to go to America, go to UK and what have been, they are going there doing petty job. And while they are there, a lot of unpatriotic, a lot of unprofessional acts have been going on. We have been seeing where the regulatory body are sending, requesting to clarify when they receive certain verification that are not inconsistent with what we are given.
Is that the major reason? I mean, is how altruistic is the, this 2-year post, verification certification, if you like? Is it just for that, or the fact that in 2023 alone, 15,000 nurses left the shores of this country, and about 45,000 did so in a space of 3 years? Definitely alarming. We hear that another 800,000 actually needed to join the numbers that you have right now, barely 300,000 nurses and midwives. Is this not why you're trying to keep them back, because of the dearth in healthcare workers, especially nurses and midwives?
Well, I want to agree with what your assertion is all about, because as a nation, it is the government responsible to provide the professional competence that will handle our healthcare. And one of the another reason you find most of the teaching hospitals and the paramedical centers, these nurses are employed before without following the due process. It is scheduled duty. You find a nurse expected to report for either a night duty before it's vacant. Why is the nurse? He has, I'm the airport, I'm leaving. And no due process. And as a civil servant, the public service, there is a rules. If you want to leave, there is a process. If you want to disengage, there is a process. If you want to retire, there is a process. But all these are not, and a lot of complaint from most of our tertiary hospitals in the country. Nurses are leaving. To the extent, some of these teaching hospital or chief executive are feeling afraid of employing. What do we do? I think as a regulatory agency, a lot of complaints of unprotected and fraudulent activities are also reporting to us. What do we do? These younger ones have left.
In the case of asking, in the case of asking what we do or what we can do, but you should know what to do. You have to ensure that you make it something beautiful to the extent that they do not leave. So most of the nurses we've spoken to over, the course of getting on this show say that the remuneration far below anything you can talk about. Now you're smiling.
Welfare.
So the welfare is not there.
Well, when you talk of welfare, it's a relative term. Every employer is responsible for the provisions of welfare of his employee. And I want to say it depends on where you are working. And the responsibility of those employer to employee, it's their responsibility of providing the welfare. And I want to believe nurses are no exceptional.
But as a regulator, are you not looking at that? Is that not part of your brief to ensure that these health workers, nurses, midwives, are well remunerated?
Well, it's not within the mandate of the council. The mandate of the council to ensure regulation of education and practice, and to ensure these are competent nurses to render the nursing care to our Nigerians. And we do it, and we are providing all the measures in line with the global best practice that competent professional nurses are ejected into society. No issue of welfare, issue of remunerations, it depends on those employed nurses, like any other employer.
Let's even talk about competence and why Nigerian nurses and midwives are attracted, to going abroad. As a matter of fact, every now and again, you find agencies coming to Nigeria, to take them. What's the competence level generally, if you were to compare Nigerian nurses and midwives with what obtains elsewhere?
Well, let me just affirm to you that Nigerian nurses, because of our commitment in ensuring standard while in training, no amount of pressure, we don't compromise standard while training. You must fulfill that requirement before we certify you as a nurse or midwife. And another beauty part of Nigerian context, we stick to the norms and ethics of training as far as a nurse, which the entire world recognizes. Additionally, the way we build our graduate programs, it is a program very encompasses and comprehensive. A graduate nurse coming out with the 3 competencies. A competence as a general nurse, a competence in midwifery, and competence in public health. These are some of the attributes which make Nigerian nurses graduate more unique and more attractive. And as a nation, we need to protect the interests of Nigerians.
And in protecting the interest of the country, even though it's not within the purview of the council to speak about remuneration, what do you think you can do in collaborating with other relevant agencies or bodies to see that, look, this is the problem, what do we do to ensure that these brains we keep turning out year in, year out, remain with us, if at all, at least for the first 5 years or 2 years?
I think the profession has, they have what they call an umbrella association, which is the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives. It's one of the objectives of establishing association. And I want to tell you, the couple of weeks, they've paid very good interactive sessions with the Honorable Coordinating Minister of Health and Welfare. And these are some of the issues that were discussed. And the present minister that we have, they are so committed in ensuring that these issues were attended. Just a few days, I know he has directed a committee should be constituted to look at all the issues raised by the National Association with the view of improving the situation all over the country, so that these issues you are talking about will be addressed squarely.
One of the issues that government promises to look into seriously is the issue of rivalry, and I've tried to find exactly what rivalry, where. Rivalry between or among whom now?
Well, I
is
think
it the nurses and midwives or what? I mean, help us understand that.
I don't understand that. Maybe you need to be clear, because it's a relative term when you say rivalry. And rivalry where? And I don't think there is I don't know the existence of any rivalry, except maybe you need to classify and talk about the subject clearly, then maybe I will be able to talk.
That's why I said I checked to find out exactly what this rivalry is all about.
But I think the healthcare
yeah.
the healthcare services is a collaborative. There should be, it's a teamwork between the medical doctors, nurses, pharmacy, medical. Nobody can do independent without one another because these services are integrated. And now one provide and support another so that the result is better care to patient.
All right, we'll have to say thank you very much. Faruk Abubakar is Registrar, Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria, the regulator. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.